Tuesday nights. TK making me miss and regret not doing Tuesday Night Titans, man. We'll be back tomorrow. I know you guys miss me and the monster on Tuesday nights. We'll be back tomorrow. Oh my God, man. Holy shit. Was this show god-awful? Absolutely god-awful. That might have been the worst go-home show that AEW's ever put on, man. You really got to be sick if you enjoy what they're doing right now, man. Oh my God, man. Yeah, $550 million, man. Yeah, nothing's gonna save. Terrible, terrible, terrible creative, man. Oh my God. Who won the night? Who won the night? 1,000 votes say 86% NXT won the night. Oh my goodness. You know who's gonna win the night? Me. Why? Because I'm going to the venue. Because I have an old-fashioned waiting for me when I walk through those doors. And on this Tuesday nights, which wasn't Title Tuesday, by the way, I want to know, what the fuck are you guys drinking? I'll see you over there.
Why has Triple H been so successful? Why is Triple H running WWE better than Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard on Monday and Friday night? Long-term booking.
What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining me on this Tuesday night. It is Title Tuesday and NXT on the CW for October 8th, 2024. I am your host, JD from New York. As always, coming to you live from the OTS venue inside my mother's basement. Thank you guys so very much for joining me on your Tuesday nights, wherever you may be. Not joined by my partner in crime, the Chi-Town Smart Jesse. He is dealing with family this evening, and he could not make the show tonight. Jesse will make his return next week when he and I get back to business as usual on Wednesday nights for our great AEW Dynamite coverage right here on Off the Script. You got me solo. You got me all to yourselves this evening on Tuesday night, man. NXT and AEW going head-to-head. This will not be the first time that AEW and NXT, WWE go head-to-head this year. They will be going head-to-head, I believe, in November as well. I think that there may be some scheduling switch for the election that's coming up in the first week of November. So we will keep you guys posted on that. I think the rumor was that NXT may be shifting gears away from the election from Tuesday onto Wednesday. So we will keep a close eye on that. But if tonight was any indication about what people want and what people want to see and what the better show is, I think the clear-cut winner tonight, man, by a fucking country landslide, the winner tonight was NXT. I did watch both shows. I did watch both. I watched from 8 to 9. Actually, I watched from 8 up until the end of Tony D'Angelo and Oba Femi. Then I switched over to AEW Dynamite, where not much was going on at all during any portion of the show. NXT, by far and away, was the choice of many tonight, and I genuinely don't think Tony Khan even cares. He doesn't care one single solitary bit about anything, man. He is checked out. He is so far gone, he can't be bothered with anything. I don't work there. I don't know what happens. I don't know the internal workings of AEW. In fact, I don't need to work there. I could tell you how things operate without even fucking knowing a single thing as to what happens backstage. They don't have a creative team. WWE has a creative team. They plan things out. They get things in motion. They have a vision. For all we know, Triple H already has WrestleMania booked, and we are on the road to WrestleMania already in his mind. Tony Khan wakes up. There's not a single fucking thought about what's happening on Dynamite until Tony Khan wakes up, if the man even sleeps. I don't even know if he's human at this point. He may be of another fucking species. He may be of another planet. He might not even be a human life form. I don't know. The man doesn't sleep. So whatever he does as far as sleep, if he does sleep, he wakes up and he decides what's going to go on the show mere hours before the show actually goes live. The fact that he says and has been quoted saying that he's got 26 or so people that work around him and give him ideas and thoughts and creative. There is no creative team in AEW, period. The creative team is one man. That one man is Tony Khan. You can sit there and tell me, oh, he's got Jimmy Jacobs. Oh, he's got Will Washington. Give me a fucking break. Will Washington couldn't book himself out of a fucking paper bag. You fucking kidding me? I don't know how much he had to do with Swerve and Adam Page. That was great. Anything else? I don't know who the fuck is writing this show. This shit is absolutely fucking deplorable. This might have been the worst Dynamite show of the entire year. This was by far and away the worst Dynamite go-home show of the entire year. Maybe the worst go-home show that they've ever done, period. I can't pinpoint a single fucking thing that I am excited about on Saturday's pay-per-view, which may be the weakest AEW pay-per-view of the entire year. Something needs to change. This is not, again, it's like I'm a broken record. It's like you got an A side and a B side, and we keep flipping back and forth. The A side of the AEW album, you know, going into All In and All Out, it wasn't bad. They actually used their brain creatively to come up with some decent fucking stories and some decent payoffs. The B-side of the AEW album, Grand Slam and WrestleDream, now you know why those songs didn't make the actual album. You know, bands release B-sides and fucking imported songs that you only hear on the Japanese version of the album. Nobody wants to hear this shit. Nobody wants to see this shit. Nobody fucking cares. This show tonight was fucking downright miserable. Yet you got the AEW sickos out there who will claim everything is right because Tony Khan says so. Tony Khan says AEW and everything AEW is great. I'm not eating Frosted Flakes, bro. They aren't even great. This shit is fucking depressing. I don't know how many people were in attendance tonight, but it sounded like there was maybe 200 to 300 people maximum in that building tonight. WrestleTix said they sold 1,800 tickets or so, 1,900 tickets or so, which would have been, I think, by my estimation, the lowest live gate for a Dynamite in the history of AEW Dynamite, where they just celebrated 5 years on Warner Brothers Discovery. 1,800, 1,900 people in a fucking venue that seats 12,000. Yet you people want to sit there and claim that everything is great because you got Hologram on AEW Dynamite, who went 14-0 tonight in a fucking gymnastics exhibition against Commander. Great. Absolutely fucking terrible. What an awful fucking show. I don't know what needs to change, but the one thing I keep going to is Tony Khan. Tony Khan needs to take a step back. This is getting bad. It is really, really getting bad. I don't know how anybody who's a fan of this show could watch that and say, yeah, man, I love AEW. How could you love AEW right now? Look at what has happened in the last month. We go from All In to All Out, into Grand Slam, into WrestleDream. Maybe AEW needs to do a better job of scheduling what they have coming up instead of piecing all these shows so close together. All In into All Out. I think everybody's kind of used to that by now. I've made recommendations that we just get rid of All Out altogether and we just do All In. I don't know why we just don't have one show per month and that they're spaced away from each other in a respectable way. Why does one show have to happen and then literally the next week there's a fucking show, or the next 2 weeks there's another show on pay-per-view? I mean, that is just mind-boggling fucking stupid. AEW coming out of All Out, which they pushed back this year so that it happens 2 weeks after All In. Then they go right into Grand Slam, which was 2 weeks after All Out. And then they have 3 weeks to build towards WrestleDream. How do you allow anything to breathe? They clearly did not give a shit going into Grand Slam. They didn't give a shit going into WrestleDream. The creative direction in AEW is basically Tony Khan taking a dart, looking at a dartboard, and wherever it lands, that's the creative. Or he puts names in a randomizer on social media, and he asks Grok on Twitter, their specialized AI, who should I book in a match tonight? And the AI spits out random names. And that's what Tony Khan books, because Tony Khan is not a visionary. Tony Khan is not a creative man. Tony Khan just books for Tony Khan. I don't understand the direction. I don't understand what is going on. I don't understand why there's a lack of storytelling in this company and why they expect me to sit here and emotionally invest myself in these absolute nothing matches, these exhibitions that are being showcased in front of 1,800 fucking people, and then you want to fucking parade around on social media like everything's fucking great. I'm watching this shit and I feel fucking sad. I feel sad. I feel sad for the people working there. I feel sad for the people who paid money to sit there. I feel bad for all of us that have to watch this. I feel like, honestly, I feel like a loser watching AEW. You're watching a man run a company into the fucking ground, and he doesn't know that he's doing it because Warner paid him close to $600 million and pat him on the back saying, good job, Tony. Good job. You're only here because we need something that is weekly episodic television, if you want to even call it that at this point. You're only here right now because we lost the rights to the NBA. Thank you for being our second best friend. It's basically what it is. I am so far gone about AEW, it is not even funny. Yeah, you got the people on social media, and I heard it tonight. Oh, why don't you stop covering it? No, I'm not going to stop covering it because AEW actually makes me some decent revenue on the back end. Much better than NXT did. Nobody was watching NXT when I covered NXT. Nobody gives a shit about NXT. I'm not the only one that stopped covering NXT either. They aren't really all that great either. I only stopped covering NXT because it just got to a point where it was just too much. The numbers didn't reflect. This is the second biggest wrestling promotion in the entire world. I'm not going to stop covering the second biggest pro wrestling company in the entire industry because you think I should stop covering it. No. If that was the case, I would have stopped covering WWE during the fucking terrifying days of Vince McMahon running Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown into the fucking ground 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. You remember I was in the trenches then. If I didn't give up then, what makes you think I'm going to give up now? Give me a break. I put on my fucking big boy pants and I braced the goddamn storm that was coming every single week because I knew nobody was going to sit in this fucking chair and tell it to you like I do, like I did. Where other people go out there and react all fucking hunky-dory and they all act fake with their fake reactions. I sit here every fucking week and give you guys the perspective of an actual down-to-earth, grounded, real, human pro wrestling fan. Through me, you feel the frustrations. Through me, you feel the excitement. Through me, you know what works, what doesn't work. Through me, you know what's good and what's bad. In all my years doing this, I've never sugarcoated anything. What makes you think I'm going to stop covering AEW when I didn't stop covering WWE? There is a fucking problem. Tonight, I mean, it seemingly feels like it's an every week thing now. There is a problem. How do you look at that show and say, good job, Tony? How do you work there and say, good job, boss? Does nobody question anything? I genuinely don't even know where to start. I don't. This is bad. This is fucking bad. 1,800 people in a 12,000 seat place. The entire arena is blacked out. I can't see anything past the fucking first two rows. Everything just sounds terrible on TV. Everything sounds like there's an echo. I mean, it's the whole show. The show is so fucking bad. It's not even funny. I can't pinpoint a single fucking thing that made any sense on tonight's show. Not one single thing. We're going to try and break the AEW side of things down. NXT was the superior show tonight, no doubt about it. You had Javon Evans, who is athletic as all, in there against Randy Orton. It was a fun match, fun showcase for him being 20 years old. They tried an RKO spot, which everybody kind of predicted that there would be an attempt to have the best RKO spot ever. Now, they certainly went and gave a very ambitious effort, only to have it just be a worldwide botch on national television. But Javon Evans was still in there with one of the greatest ever, a man that wanted to work with him specifically. And he got his flowers at the end of the match because Randy Orton told him, don't worry about it. Shit happens. Congratulated him. Don't worry about it. Raised his hand and gave him the Randy Orton seal of approval. That's the only part that really should matter to anybody. So that was your main event tonight. Stephanie Vaquer made her NXT on-screen debut tonight, standing side by side with Julia. Looks like we're getting a tag team match, potentially at Halloween Havoc, against Roxanne Perez and the returning Cora Jade. Tony D'Angelo wins the NXT North American Championship in what I thought was a banger match. Probably the best match of the entire night, honestly, between both shows. He won the North American Championship. He defeated the unstoppable Oba Femi, who right now looks to be on his way to bigger and better things on Tuesday nights. So we will talk about that as well. Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair were there. They teamed with Kelani Jordan against Fatal Influence, Toxic Attraction 2.0. It's basically what they are. And another coming attraction vignette for the soon-to-be debuting Delta that NXT is promoting now on top of Stephanie Vaquer and Julia. All in all, NXT was the best show of the night. Also, how could I forget, man, the best tag team in all of WWE right now, clip it, Axiom and Nathan Frazier, fucking great. Absolutely love those guys. They even had a great match against Austin Theory and Grayson Waller tonight. A-Town Down Under. NXT was a lot better than what they did in their debut episode. And I quite like the smaller crowd. I mean, they had about 7,000, 7,500 in Chicago at the Allstate Arena. They had about 1,900 in a very small warehouse or factory in St. Louis. And they made it look great. They made it sound great. I like those type of shows, man. See, that's what AEW should be doing. 1,800 in a fucking place that seats 1,800. Not 1,800 where the fucking venue is 20,000 deep. How embarrassing is that for you? Oh, but they run shows because they need internet and they need the proper setup. Well, whatever the fucking excuses are. Whatever the excuses are. If WWE could run a fucking warehouse, a factory somewhere in the middle of bumblefuck St. Louis, why can't AEW do the same thing? Put a poll in the live stream chat. 1,600 votes. 85% said NXT was the better show tonight compared to AEW Title Tuesday, which only got 15%. And if you don't think my audience knows what the fuck they're talking about, man, I'm going to need you to get the fuck out of here because my people here, they know their shit. If AEW was a good show, it wouldn't be 15 fucking percent in the stream poll right now. We're going to try and break this thing down. We're going to go segment for segment, show to show. I'm not going to cover one show and then cover the other because I know how you fucking geeks are. You'll listen to me cover NXT and then as soon as I cover AEW, you're going to fucking dip and then leave. So we're going to do one segment from NXT and one segment from AEW. And you're going to wait on my fucking thoughts. Because that's how we do things here, man. I appreciate you guys very much for hanging out with me on this Tuesday night. We got 2,300 people in here, man. Thank you for joining me. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Cameo. that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for notifications. We were live last night for the Monday Night Raw post-show. First show after 12 years at 2 hours. I did not like it. For all the people that claim, oh, JD is a big-nosed Papa H. He's a ball sniffer. Buried the show for about 20 minutes to open last night's stream. I don't know when you guys are going to understand that all I ever do is call things right down the middle, man. I'm like Bill Alfonso in ECW. Call it right down the middle. Always. Make sure you guys go and check out the Raw review. Make sure you guys go check out everything you missed last week. Bad Blood. Saturday. We were live 6 straight days in a row last week. More of the same this week. Live yesterday, live tonight. We're going to be live tomorrow night. Me and the Solomonster are back with a special episode of TNT on a Wednesday. It's Wednesday Night Titans tomorrow. We will document and go over everything that's happened in the past 7 days, like we usually do. So make sure you guys go and hit that subscribe button and keep yourselves notified. Hit that thumbs up. Got 517 likes right now. We got 2,200 people in here. No less than 1,000, man. No less than 1,000. That's the minimum. Super chats are open. Get them on in, man. Let me know how you feel about Dynamite tonight, man. I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. Yeah. And tonight's show is sponsored by my great friends over at Blue Chew. Wrestling Bro 91, I see you, man. He says, LOL, JD has a larger crowd than Dynamite. Oh, man. Love it. Love it. BlueChew.com. Code JD at checkout. All you guys need to do is pay the $5 shipping and handling. Dodgers lost to the Padres tonight. Good. Fuck them. And fuck the Phillies, too, man. The Padres are going to be tough to beat. The Padres, in my opinion, are going to the World Series. It's going to be what I hope it is. Seeing what I'm seeing now. What I hope it is in the World Series. I hope it's the Padres and the Tigers. Something about that Detroit team that I like, man. Very scrappy team. And the Padres are tough, man. Even if the Braves made it out of the wild card, I don't think they would have even made it out of the NLDS. Dodgers would have beat them. And the Mets are playing like they are a World Series team right now. I don't know. They got the Phillies number, man. But fuck the Fighting Phils. Fuck Bryce Harper. I can't stand that prick. Goodbye. Good riddance. One more game. End it tomorrow, please. Please, just end it tomorrow. I can't stand them. One of the worst fan bases in all pro wrestling are Philadelphia Philly fans. Just like one of the worst fan bases is AEW fans. The worst fan base in all of pro wrestling. They don't get it. Nor do they care to get it. They all run collectively on one fucking brain cell, our AEW fans. We'll start with NXT because NXT started at 8 o'clock. Dynamite didn't start till 9 o'clock. Most people didn't even realize Dynamite was on tonight. Had people legitimately reaching into my DMs. I didn't know Dynamite was on tonight. Well, I don't know what to tell you, partner. I don't know what to tell you. NXT last week, I did not like NXT on the CW last week. I thought the debut show was very weak. I thought it was very flat. People continue to tell me, JD, you got to watch NXT, man. It's a much better show. It's a much different show than what you last remember. I know you didn't like 2.0. This isn't 2.0. It doesn't matter if it's 2.0 or not, guys. I don't like the way the show is. And I don't think that will ever change. There's something about the show that I just don't like. It just doesn't feel must-see to me. I have a very, very difficult time investing in anything, even though I know who all these people are. There's something about the way the show sounds. There's something about the way the show is produced. There's something about the way the performers act and perform and cut promos that something is off. I genuinely don't know. Like I said last week, I don't know what I'm not seeing. You guys think it's great. Fine. You think it's great. I don't. But I do think, and I will say, tonight's show was so much better than it was last week. Because the in-ring stuff was much better than what happened last week. So that goes a long way. Trick Williams, he starts NXT tonight. And Trick Williams is the new NXT World Champion. He beat Ethan Page, who I documented last week was the worst NXT champion, maybe of all time. Don't know how you guys watched NXT with him as the champion for 3 months or so. I don't understand that. They gave him a world championship after 6 weeks. They gave him a world championship after 6 weeks of joining NXT, coming over from AEW, man. Talk about a political maneuver. He's not a world champion in any promotion. Not even on the developmental brand. He doesn't fit the vibe of being a world champion. Trick Williams, he's out there. Williams gave himself a new nickname. He calls himself Tricky 2 times. Because he's a 2-time NXT champion. Tricky 2 times. Say it 2 times because he's a 2-time champion. He is interrupted by Wes Lee. Now, I love Wes Lee. I think Wes Lee is great. Wes Lee is one of the best things about NXT. I think he's phenomenal in the ring. I think Wes Lee just carries himself. And his North American Championship run was, I wouldn't put it up there with everybody that I've seen in black and gold, but he is somebody, Wes Lee, that would fit into black and gold like a fucking glove. He is great. He bleeds the essence of black and gold. That's why I think I am so into what Wes Lee does. He's great. So Wes Lee is in the crowd. He cuts a promo on Trick Williams. Wes says Trick is not it, and Lee vows to take the title from Williams. Interrupting Lee is Jey Uso. Yes, Jey Uso, the WWE Intercontinental Champion, comes out. He gets a huge pop from the crowd in St. Louis. He gets on the microphone saying he is in your city, St. Louis. He was in your city last night, too. He got his ass handed to him by Braun Breaker. But there was no Braun Breaker here on Tuesday night. Trick thanks him for being there. The crowd yeets with Uso, and they yeet along with Trick Williams. Whoop that Trick. Yeet. Dueling chants going on. And they go from what they do in the ring to introductions for the first match, which is a 6-woman tag team match with Kelani Jordan, Jade Cargill, and Bianca Belair, and Fatal Influence. This is Fallon Henley, JC Jane, and Jasmine Nix. Who? I don't know. I mean, you're asking me if I'm invested here. No, I'm not. By the way, for all the engagement farmers on social media and the people who need to politicize pro wrestling because you have nothing else better to do, man, what a scene that is in the opening of NXT tonight. We got Wes Lee in the crowd, who is a person of color, right? We got Kelani Jordan, we got Jade Cargill, and Bianca Belair with Trick Williams, the NXT champion. So let me rephrase this, folks. We have some great black athletes in NXT. Trick Williams is the NXT World Champion. We have Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, who are the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. We got Kelani Jordan, who's the NXT Women's North American Champion. And Wes Lee, who is one of the best athletes in the entire company. Gee, man, I'm still wondering where all that representation is that somehow has gone missing from social media. Oh, but Triple H is not diverse. Gee, man, I must be fucking blind. Maybe that's not what I saw tonight. This women's tag team match, I gotta ask, man. Listen. Kelani Jordan's fine. Still not the biggest fan of what she does in the ring. I think she's very, I don't know, man. Kelani Jordan, very vanilla. What makes her stand out? I'm still trying to figure that one out. This is probably a me thing. Maybe you guys think otherwise. Is she getting it? Is she grasping it? Does she move well in the ring? Sure. But I'm struggling to see why she is the North American champion over someone like a Sol Ruka. And I use Sol Ruka as an example because Sol Ruka's got an identity. Sol Ruka is someone who's got a unique look to her, you know? But here we are with Kelani Jordan, and even though she may be okay and is learning and getting better in the ring, I'm still struggling to really pinpoint what makes her so unique and so special. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But she seems very vanilla. All these women seem very vanilla. JC Jane, Jasmine Nix, and Fallon Henley. Fallon Henley's got a unique look to her. She's got that Mickie James vibe going on. But Jasmine Nix, JC Jane, Kelani Jordan, I mean, everybody looks the same. Ren Sinclair, everybody looks the same. Like, how am I supposed to care if everybody looks the same? You could see who's breaking away from the pack, man. You could see who's breaking away from the pack. That's why Lola Vice is being pushed. Lola's got an attitude. She's got charisma. Then you see Nikita Lyons, who came back tonight. She's got a unique look to her. She's got a charisma about her that's different than everybody else. Sol Ruka is fucking great. Big fan of Sol Ruka. But everybody else in the division, then you start talking about your Roxannes and your Cora Jades and your Julias and your Stephanie Beckers. I mean, but the lower portion of the women's roster, struggling to figure out what's so special here. I honestly did not care about any of this whatsoever. This was basically all show. Don't know why they gave Fatal Attraction, Fatal Influence, Toxic Attraction. Don't know why they gave Fatal Influence a win last week over Lola and Jada Parker, only to have them come right here tonight in St. Louis to lose to Kelani Jordan, Jade Cargill, and Bianca Belair. So what was the point of last week? It's almost as if they rendered whatever happened last week useless. They wasted my time. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, man, I don't know how anybody thinks they're doing anything with those tag team championships. Jade Cargill is as uncharismatic as anybody in WWE, period. There is zero attraction to me about Jade Cargill. There's nothing there. You could see that WWE has basically told Jade to go out there and regurgitate the same spots and the same moves and the same sequences because that's all she knows how to do. She hasn't added anything new to what she does. There's nothing there that signifies she's getting better. There's nothing there. You could tell it's all fake. It's all manufactured. People see right through that, man. When they all do their choreographed fucking pose, I cringe. I cringe. Her spots are so telegraphed and so choreographed. It's so unappealing. It really is. You may think she's getting better. I haven't seen an ounce of progress in that woman since she stepped foot in the WWE. She is literally the same Jade Cargill that we saw in AEW. I don't even know why they hired her, to be honest with you. I I would take any of these other women over Jade Cargill. I would take Sol Ruca over Jade Cargill. She was nothing more than a charity case signing because WWE wanted to prove to Tony Khan, ha ha ha, this is first of many, ha ha ha, we're going to book her better than you did. It's basically why they hired her. No other reason. This match went to the tag team champions and the NXT North American champion. Hot tag, Bianca runs wild. She gets to do a little offense here before tagging out. Belair and Cargill tandem offense on Jasmine Nix, who I don't really know much about. I mean, she doesn't look all that good in the ring at all. Jasmine Nix, Jordan follows up with a split-legged moonsault. Jordan covers Nix for the 1, 2, 3, and that was basically all she wrote here in this 6-woman tag team match. Very, very difficult to bring myself to care about anything that happened in that opening match. On AEW, Jon Moxley opened AEW Title Tuesday with a backstage promo. By the way, Jon Moxley has trademarked Kill Switch Conspiracy. Now, if you guys don't know what that signifies, that is, I believe, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, that is the team name, the pairing of Jon Moxley and Sami Callihan. Now, I don't know if this means Sami Callihan is coming into AEW. By the name and the trademark, it certainly sounds like and looks like that Sami Callihan may be coming on into AEW, which, if that's the case, good for him because we here, the OTS family, love Sami Callihan. I'm surprised he hasn't been in AEW yet. So we'll see what happens there. Do we see Sami on Saturday at WrestleDream? Is he the one? Is he the mysterious one that Jon Moxley continues to mention indirectly? Love Sami. Jon Moxley says no one wants the blood of the legendary Bryan Danielson on their hands, despite Danielson trying to kamikaze himself. The way things have worked out, it has to be Moxley who gives a wake-up call to AEW. Yeah, that means you got to give a wake-up call to Tony Khan, too. If Tony Khan's not being given a wake-up call, then we are not doing what we need to do. You don't get to pick the day. Everyone living in their fake world Saturday night, they'll see the truth. Moxley brings up the dark side of Danielson, which is a beautiful thing. As you back the dragon into a corner, it becomes something truly terrifying. Danielson has never been comfortable with that part of himself, but as his world closes in around him, he will embrace his dark side. Moxley will be ready. He doesn't have a choice. There aren't enough people in the state of Washington to stop him on Saturday night. What Moxley stands for is too powerful. Whom shall we fear? Moxley will run into the mouth of war, so run while you have a chance, as he only hopes one day Danielson will understand. It has to be this way. The stakes are too high. Listen, I love both Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley. I think they're both fantastic, but I am, as a fan of both, struggling with the fact that we are absolutely 100% looking at a title change on Saturday. I'm having a very difficult time looking at Jon Moxley. What is this going to be, chat? Third time? Might be a fourth time. I don't know. I don't have it in front of me. 3-time at least AEW World Champion. I am having a very difficult time wrapping my head around going back to Jon Moxley as the AEW World Champion. I feel like we've been there, done that. I don't think Jon Moxley needs the World Championship to carry out this mission statement that he cryptically continues to talk about. I don't think he needs the World Championship. I think AEW's got this all wrong. Adam Page should be the one challenging Bryan Danielson for the AEW World Championship, and Adam Page should be on his way to being the AEW World Champion. That type of push and that type of change, what he's done, his body of work, that needs to be rewarded. No, but Tony Khan only sees what Tony Khan wants to see, and Tony Khan wants to put the title on one of his most fabled toys, Jon Moxley. That's all that is. Jon Moxley, for this storyline, does not need the World Championship. He doesn't. Coming out of All Out, after what we've seen, Adam Page has been dropped. The ball has been dropped by creative. What are we doing? We went from a vicious steel cage match to him burning the fucking house down that Swerve grew up in to Jeff Jarrett. And now we're getting a match between Switchblade Jay White and Adam Page. Gee, I wonder who's going to win that one. Here, let me put both guys in a feud where both guys desperately need a win. Nobody thinks about long-term consequences and long-term booking. Bryan is absolutely losing that championship on Saturday night. And I can't sit here and tell you that I'm terribly excited to see another reign as world champion from Jon Moxley. Do we see Sami Callihan? Do we see Shane McMahon? I mean, the way this show is shaping up, something's got to fucking go down. Because this show on Saturday night is looking like Tony Khan fucking woke up, had a dream about some random fucking wrestling card, and pieced it together with absolutely no rhyme or reason. Darby Allin. He's going one-on-one at WrestleDream in an open challenge, which was answered on Saturday night's Collision if you watched it. Nobody did, because we were all watching Punk and McIntyre inside Hell in a Cell. Darby Allin's open challenge was answered by Brody King of the fabled group that apparently AEW can't seem to put on television altogether at the same fucking time. The House of Black. Darby Allin's in the ring. He's cutting a promo. He is calling out Brody King to make his way out to the ring. King comes out. He walks out there, and we get highlights of the history between both men. Allin says he was so excited that Brody King answered the challenge, but he could have asked nicely. Allin brought up working the indies with Brody King, staying in crackhead motels, and how King didn't know how his career would end up with a kid on the way. He recalls King being under a Ring of Honor contract at the time prior to Tony Khan buying it, and it was Darby Allin who got Brody King into AEW. Thanks to AEW, both of them helped their fathers retire, but the issue is Darby, his spot, Brody wants it. And Darby is the face of AEW despite not expecting to make it. Darby said he's one of those guys who does promotional work, the talk shows, but Brody interrupted and said, yeah, you're right. King said what happens when Allin climbs Mount Everest. His dad will have to get him a job again, but ultimately Allin needs someone to save him from himself. Allin screamed and sat in the corner, begging to start a fight with King, and begged him to hit the cannonball in the corner. Brody told him to get up. Darby stood up and slapped King in the face, which led Brody to knocking him down with a big right forearm. Brody then went for a chokehold on Darby, but Darby all of a sudden pulls out a rock. Yes, a rock. He had it in his jacket. He blasted Brody in the face with it, busting Brody King open in the process. Security ran down and stepped in between both of them as Brody King left the ring to retreat. I want to say two things here. Number one, I can't physically bring myself to complain. about a Brody King and Darby Allin match because I know what we're going to get. It's going to be a car crash, and it's going to be entertaining. Now, with that said, Darby Allin has had absolutely nothing to do with Brody King in any aspect on television for months. Yet you want me to sit here and find myself emotionally invested in what these two guys are doing on Saturday night. Was this the best creative decision that you could come up with? I know we needed to get Darby on the card because Darby's from the state in which WrestleDream is being held in. But there was no rhyme or reason for this. All this match is Tony Khan looking at his roster and saying to his team, hey guys, how do we restore the feeling in AEW? Oh, I know what we do. We do Brody and Darby. We do Brody and Darby on Saturday night at WrestleDream. Basically how it went down. How do we restore the feeling, guys? What feeling? What feeling is there? There is no feeling. There is no story. We've gotten zero story on television between these guys, and then you want me to fucking go back into the fucking vault and give a shit about a fucking story that basically is not there. And then the AEW fan base, how fucking retarded they are. The AEW fan base, they'll cry on social media, oh, there's a story. JD doesn't watch Rampage. First of all, nobody's watching Rampage. And no, this isn't a story. This is basically what we call an angle, a callback. This is not a story. A story needs a beginning, a middle, and an end. Stories take place over weekly, consecutive, episodic television shows. This is not a fucking story, you half-witted geek. It's basically Tony Khan needing a pay-per-view match, and this is what he's come up with. I need to put Darby on the show. There's no real story for him, so we'll just go back and do him and Brody King. Like the fucking Pillsbury Doughboy. Yeah, they'll tell you, go Google it. No, I'm not Googling anything. Give me a fucking break. And by the way, why do we need Brody to bleed when we all know someone's going to bleed on Saturday night? Have we learned nothing at all? Why do we visually need to see blood on the go-home show when we all know one or both of these guys are going to bleed on Saturday night? Can we make it feel special? How about not having anybody bleed? Can AEW do me a solid? Let's make a bet. Can nobody bleed from now until Full Gear? Maybe something will play out of Full Gear where blood is necessary and then they use it properly so that it feels a little bit more effective. No, but letting CM Punk go and firing CM Punk for Jack Perry was a sound decision by the sickos, right? The one guy there that got it, you let go. For Jack Perry. Oh, man. When you look back at fucking dumb moves a CEO could make, man, he fired CM Punk over Jack Perry. Let's let that sink in. That'll be the crowning moment of their failure. Shifting gears back over to NXT. NXT Tag Team Champions Nathan Frazier and Axiom. They were backstage with Randy Orton. Little locker room skit here. Orton asked them just how fast Javon Evans is. And Axiom remarks that he may be the fastest in NXT. Frazier looks at his tag team partner and says, what are we talking about? I'm the fastest. I'm standing right here. And then they begin bickering back and forth. Frazier apologizes for losing his temper. Orton says sometimes you need to find that place. I know what it is and how it feels to lose my temper. Orton wishes them both luck tonight against Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. I hope that they're not teasing a split between Nathan Frazier and Axiom. I don't think they are, but I would not even have it be a thought in my head about splitting them up. They are the best tag team in WWE right now. Sarah Schreiber interviewed Julia backstage. She didn't really say much of anything. All of a sudden, she looks off to the side and she sees an old friend enter off camera. That ends the interview, and then we go to commercial. Obviously, we all knew who it was because we've seen Stephanie Vaquer mention the NXT Women's Championship a few weeks ago when there was a contract signing between Julia and Roxanne Perez before the debut on the CW. So we all figured that is where they were going. Roxanne Perez, she was out next and she was in the ring cutting a promo in front of the live audience. She retained the championship last week against Julia, who suffered her first loss in WWE, which I don't really mind. Sets up a tag team match and builds to another match with Roxanne. So the debut of Julia on the CW results in a loss because they figured, let's bring back Cora Jade and start building this tag team match, and then we'll go to Julia and Roxanne at the next PLE. It's probably where they're going. Roxanne's in the ring. She gloats and brags about retaining her title against Julia. Roxanne then introduces her old friend, Cora Jade. Last week, Jade returned and helped Perez retain the title. Jade was wearing a knee brace, and she's in the ring. She's got a microphone. She just emits or exudes bitch, this Cora Jade. Looks a little like Saraya, no? Very Saraya-like by Cora Jade. Cora claims that not even Perez knew that Jade would be interfering in the match last Tuesday. Cora Jade is back, and the Jade you used to know was a girl trying to make it in NXT, but now she is the woman that will make NXT. No. Now, I think we are well beyond that, Miss Jade. Jade does say that Perez deserves to be champion. Jade also puts over Perez's heel persona, and Jade says this is why they should be friends again. That is bad for the rest of the roster. Perez says she should have listened to Jade a while ago, but Perez finally learns her lesson. So Julia enters, and she interrupts this promo. Thank God, because these promos were fucking awful. She stops in the aisleway, and she waits for backup in the form of her old friend from earlier, and that is Stephanie Vaquer. They rush to the ring. They brawl with Jade and Perez, and they clear the ring, and the heels retreat. This is obviously setting up a tag team match. So they are standing side by side in the middle of the ring, and the NXT Championship was left alone, standing or laying in between them. They go to pick it up at the same time, and they're both holding on to the championship. So we're going to get a tag team match, I believe, at Halloween Havoc. I think that's the... No, when is Halloween Havoc? Next week? I don't know when Halloween Havoc is. Might be the end of the month. We're going to get this tag team match. It's going to be Julia and Stephanie versus Cora and Roxanne. And then it's going to be Roxanne versus Julia. Julia's going to win the championship, and then Julia will defend against Stephanie. That's what WWE is banking on for the Women's Championship. This segment, I have a very difficult time caring. It's great to see Stephanie Vaquer. I think she's great. But the one thing, and all you need to do is watch this segment. Watch these promos. The one thing I cannot physically stand about this version of NXT is that everything sounds so manufactured. It sounds so fake. October 27th. The chat is saying October 27th. I predict that's where we get the tag team match between these four ladies. This segment is all you need to know about why JD from New York doesn't like NXT. These promos are fucking awful. Roxanne sounds like she's reading off a fucking teleprompter, and it sounds so unnatural. The girl could wrestle her ass off. She can't cut a fucking promo. It sounds so cringy and so fake. Same thing with Cora Jade. They recite these lines as if they are literally memorizing the shit before they go out to the curtain, and it sounds so unnatural. Same thing with everybody else on this fucking roster. Everybody sounds so unnatural. It is very difficult to listen to. Great in the ring. But man, oh man, promo class needs some extra sessions for sure. Shifting gears back over to Dynamite. Renee Paquette was backstage with Lance Archer and Jake the Snake Roberts. When was the last time we saw Jake the Snake Roberts on AEW television? Did Tony wake up today and realize that he was paying Jake and said, you know what? I think Jake needs to come to Spokane, Washington, or wherever the fuck they were tonight. Bumblefuck, Washington. Where were they, Hula Grim? Jake Roberts. Renee brings up that Don Callis all of a sudden wants to recruit Lance Archer. Don Callis walks in saying it's an exciting day in AEW. It's an exciting day in AEW. Great. He and Roberts have done the first ever talent exchange. Lance Archer is now officially a part of the Don Callis family as Archer shakes hands with Don Callis. So, Renee asked him about Will Ospreay. He refused to answer about Will Ospreay. He walked off with Lance Archer. He gave one last handshake to Jake Roberts before leaving with Don Callis. Renee asked Jake who he got in return, and he asked if she likes surprises, because he does. Cool. You know, Lance Archer being enlisted in the Don Callis family, Tony, would be a little bit more impactful if, say, I don't know, Lance Archer was a regular fucking character on the television show weekly. Tony. Or better yet, Tony, how about Lance Archer not being used as a fucking doofus who is only called upon to lose matches? Tony. Lance Archer. Absolutely intimidating man. A great big man. Tony. Lance Archer is a fucking loser. So Don Callis has now enlisted a loser. Do you people, do you sickos genuinely believe that Lance Archer, under the management of Don Callis, is going to now miraculously start winning matches? The answer is no. He's only going to be there to be yet another meat shield for Kyle Fletcher and Konosuke Takeshita. Tony. Ridiculous. Absolutely a waste of my fucking time. What's even worse is who the talent was that was exchanged in this trade. Danny Garcia walks into the arena from the parking garage backstage, and he's approached by Renee Paquette. She asked him about his whereabouts, since this was the first time being seen since All Out and the match with MJF. Man, do we miss MJF. Chat, do we miss MJF? God only knows this fucking show needs him. Garcia said he wants to give her an answer, but owes it to the fans to give the explanation out in the arena. Gee, I wonder what he's going to talk about. Hologram! It's come, folks. The day has come. The day has come where JD is going to be sitting down reviewing a hologram match, man. It lasted 13 weeks. Hologram makes his Dynamite debut, man. Jesse, we got hologram on Dynamite, man. You missed one hell of a spectacular performance, man. Who? Let me tell you something about hologram. You guys want to know about hologram? Hologram is nothing more than a young Tony Khan. Let's go back in the time machine. Let's go back in the time machine, man. A young Tony Khan. I think we need some music for this one, no? Hologram is nothing more than a figment of Tony Khan's imagination. Tony Khan sitting on the rug in front of his dad's office as a young Tony. He's sitting at his little table and he's writing out these pro wrestling stories for his little E-Fed federations. I used to be a part of those, man. Tony sat down, his created character in his little E-Feds back in the days, man, when he was a young geek. His name was Hologram. Tony had this vision about a young man who comes out wearing a big H that glows in the dark. A modern-day luchador hero. His Hologram. He would dazzle the crowds worldwide with spectacular maneuvers. The crowd couldn't get enough of him. And Tony looks up at his dad and says, Dad, one day, I'm gonna run a pro wrestling promotion. And I'm gonna take Hologram. And I'm gonna bring him to the big stage. And just like my hero Eric Bischoff did with Goldberg, we're gonna have Hologram go undefeated. That's what I'm gonna do, Pops. I know it. And we're gonna get a big TV deal, and Hologram is gonna wrestle for my $600 million company. It's basically the backstory of Hologram. Told you, listen, man, I told you, I was in some mood tonight, man. You guys were going to get an unfiltered, why is this off camera? Why is this like, you guys were going to get an unfiltered fucking JD tonight, man. I give zero fucks about what's going on right now. Zero. Oh, JD's not getting media ever again. For what? For Tony to sit there for 20 minutes and dodge questions? After what LaGreca had to go through, I'm done listening to anything Tony Khan has to say. He will answer nothing. Hologram wrestled Commander. Tony woke up today, man, in his fucking tidy whities. He called Will Washington and said, Will, I think we need Hologram and Commander on the show. Can we get Commander on the show tonight? You know, it's funny. You know, they mask this, no pun intended. They disguise this match as, what is it, Latin American month? It's great. Some of my favorite talents ever are Latin American. This is not in favor, or this is not being done for Latin American month. It's every fucking week is Latin American month for Tony Khan. I can't tell the fucking difference between Hologram and Beast Mortos and Commander and Fuego del Sol and fucking Up Your Asshole. I don't know who the fuck these guys are and why anybody cares. Why do we care? And who is this for? Who is it for? Certainly not for me. What is the end goal with Hologram? Does anybody ask yourself that question? What is the end goal for Hologram? Does he have an expiration date? Is he going to be wrestling for the World Championship? I guarantee you, at some point in the next 3 years, as long as this company is alive and breathing, on a Warner fucking equity, on a Warner IP, this company is going to create a Cruiserweight Championship, and they're going to give it to Hologram. I guarantee it. That's what's going to happen. Commentary put over 13-0. Oh, man, Jade, he's coming for your record, Jade. How many of those 13 wins matter to Hologram? That'll be on the back of a fucking, one of them trivia card questions. Please name the first 13 opponents that Hologram defeated on AEW Collision. You know who's going to know that? The fattest fucking slob who's got Dorito crumbs and fucking sour cream all over his newly bought AEW shirt, the OG shirt. Oh, I know, he beat Serpentico on the, it was August 28th. God, this fucking shit, this show is fucking awful. It is fucking awful. Another question, folks. Another question. Why did we bring in Ricochet? Why did we bring in Ricochet if Hologram is doing everything that Ricochet does better? Has Tony ever asked that question? Has anyone in Tony's corner or on Tony's team said, boss, why are we bringing in Ricochet when we got your E-Fed dream come true over there, Hologram? He does everything that Ricochet does. That's why I said last week there's 1,000 fucking Ricochets in this company. I can't tell the fucking difference. One wears a mask and the other doesn't. There was one great spot in this match. I will give these guys credit. There was one fantastic spot. It could have been a disastrous spot. There was one great spot in this match. Commander did his rope walk. He does this thing where he stands on one turnbuckle and he, no hands, walks the top turnbuckle. Again, I don't know what the fuck we need. I don't see Ricochet doing this type of shit, right? You got Commander over there doing a fucking tightrope with no fucking hands. The fuck do we need Ricochet for? What the fuck does Ricochet do? He's rope walking. Apparently he goes for a Hurricane Rana. Something got botched. Midair, something got botched. Commander, in the moment, Hologram couldn't get the Hurricane Rana over. But Commander takes Hologram off that spot in midair and power bombs him down to the ring. That was fantastic. Could have been terrible, but it was fantastic. So, after that, both men get up. They start punching and slugging it out. Kicks. Hologram tried to backflip into a slam. Commander spiked him into a Poison Rana, which, that was botched. It wasn't even a Poison Rana. It was followed up with a Hologram Poison Rana of his own. He leveled Commander with his Poison Rana. Commander tried to springboard poison Rana, but Hologram caught him in a wild airplane spin, sit out slam for the 1, 2, 3. Hologram is now 14-0. Go tell your pops, man, that Hologram is 14-0, man. I'm sure he's going to be pleased. I'm sure he'll be over the fucking moon, man. Sit down at your dinner table and tell your father, "Hey, Dad, Hologram's 14-0. It gets worse, folks. It gets worse. Jake Roberts walked out. Who are the talents that he exchanged? Apparently, we traded Lance Archer for Rush, Dralistico, and Beast Mortos. They all attacked Hologram and Commander. Oh, my God. I don't see people. You know what? Where's the discourse on social media for Tony Khan pairing the Mexicans with the Mexicans? I thought this was a Triple H thing that we all complained about. Every Mexican talent that comes into WWE, Triple H is going to put them in the LWO. He's going to put them in Legado del Fantasma. Isn't Tony doing the same fucking thing? Rush, Beast more. I feel bad for Rush, by the way. Rush is too good for this shit. Beast Mortos and Dralistico attacked Hologram and Commander, tossing them to the outside. They gave the pose, and Mortos was reluctant at first, and he joined LFI. Jake Roberts was on stage. I guess Jake Roberts is the manager now for LFI. Jake Roberts is the great Mexican representation that LFI needs. How the fuck did we wake up and say, you know what LFI needs? Jake the Snake Roberts. What does Jake the Snake Roberts have to do in any capacity with LFI? I'm struggling to see where the connection is here. Yet we got rid of most of the fucking group. The group disbanded. Where is everybody else that was originally part of this group? Yet we got rid of Jose the assistant, who would have been a great mouthpiece for these fucking guys. And he fits the group. Remember Jose? Gone. For what? Where's Preston Vance? Did they just drop him from LFI? How the fuck does Jake Roberts fit LFI? Tony took a piece of bubble gum, chewed it, threw it at the wall, and wherever it stuck, it stuck. They had a list of managers on a fucking billboard backstage. Who's he gonna land on? That's Jake. We'll go with that. That's great. That's great. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. Jake Roberts is the newest Mexican lucha libre in AEW. Lexi Nair was backstage with Mark Briscoe, who said last week Chris Jericho didn't have to take it where he did at WrestleDream. It doesn't even have to be about the Ring of Honor title. He's going to hurt Chris Jericho. Oh my God. Wake me when it's over. How do you say Jake the Snake Roberts in Spanish? Somebody in the chat. Let's ask Google. Can we ask Google? Jake the Snake Roberts in Spanish. Snake el serpent. I can't even fucking pronounce this. Serpiente. Snake el serpiente. There you go. Snake el serpiente. He'll probably go with that fucking name in real life, too. Fuck out of here. Jake La Serpiente Roberts. Jake La Serpiente Roberto. Fuck out of here. So fucking good. This company is so lost. It's not even funny. It's not even funny. Tony D'Angelo. Back to NXT. Tony D'Angelo defeated Oba Femi to win the NXT North American Championship. This was the best match between both shows. Bar none, this was the best match between both shows. Tony D, man, you know, when I first saw Tony D, obviously, you know, being Sicilian and being Italiano and seeing Tony D come out, he was one of the first guys that I looked at in the 2.0 era. And I was immediately enthralled by Tony D. The gimmick, the character, it's a little stereotypical. It's a little over the top. They were going more for a character-based NXT developmental. They were so heavy on developing characters. I remember Duke Hudson he went from, I don't know what the fuck he was. I think he was a poker player, and then he dropped the poker player gimmick, and then he just became himself, and then he joined Chase U. They were literally throwing shit at the wall and hoped that something stuck. But Tony D was one of those guys that always stuck. He never really changed. Tony D, you know, the reason why I like Tony D is because he took the gimmick. He didn't steer away from it. He actually grew into the gimmick. And you see where he is now on 2.0, or was on 2.0, and now to where he is in 2024 going into 2025. One of my favorite things about watching pro wrestling is seeing someone like that take that, making it work, and growing with it to where he is today. He's fucking great. Tony D is great. Got a good presence about him. He's got a natural charisma. He's grown into the gimmick. He's very good in the ring. And I think his gimmick and I think his body work is going to fit like a fucking glove on the main roster. I really do. Oba Femi. A lot of people are high on Oba Femi. A lot of people are high on Oba Femi because of his look and his size. Predominantly. Could he be better in the ring? Sure. Will he be better in the ring? Sure. He's got plenty of time to do that. And at first, I questioned why they even gave him the North American Championship, because I didn't really think he was ready for something like that, ready for that type of commitment, and ready for that stage. But he's also grown into who he is as well. And he's gotten better from the first time that I saw him too. So this was a clash of two guys that were destined to meet at some point. And I know the outcome here is going to be a little fugazi for some people, but I promise you that this outcome is the right outcome. Tony D and Oba Femi had the best match of the night. So D'Angelo was being worked over. We go to a commercial break. We come back from the break. A crowbar is slid into the ring for Tony to use. He tosses it out of the ring, and he wants to win this on his own. A lot of people are making this out. The story was he can't beat him. He can't beat Oba on his own. He's not good enough. He's not man enough to do it. So Tony powerbombs Femi through the announce desk. Femi teases putting D'Angelo through the desk, but Tony counters him. Finish. Femi goes for powerbomb. D'Angelo counters with a sunset flip and a roll-up. D'Angelo holds Femi down for a 3 count, and D'Angelo wins the AEW, well, not the AEW, the NXT, sorry. No, he's not AEW at all. The NXT North American Championship, and he is the new North American champion. A lot of people were upset by this ending. I promise you that this is the right outcome, because if you ask yourself this one very simple yet important question, Oba Femi's going to have to drop that championship to someone. Who that someone was before Tony D, it didn't exist. That person didn't exist. You needed somebody that was solid, somebody there, somebody with some equity built around him. Tony D was the only guy. There is nobody else on that roster that was big enough, that was legit enough to beat Oba Femi. Tony D was the only one. There is nobody else in that pool to do it. Now, what this does is it gives Oba Femi the freedom to go and work himself up the NXT roster. He did what he did with the North American Championship. He dropped it to Tony D'Angelo. Tony D'Angelo is now the second most important guy on the brand, holding their version of the Intercontinental title. So this frees up Oba Femi to go through people up until the end of the year and build his name and build his stock to a match with Trick Williams at Stand and Deliver for the NXT World title. That's what needs to happen. And that's why they made the decision that they did. Oba Femi is going to be the NXT World Champion by the time we get to WrestleMania next year. And Trick Williams, with the charisma that oozes from Trick Williams is going to be on the main roster in 2025. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. That's why they did what they did. So when you ask, well, I think this is a stupid decision, why did they do this? That's the reason why. It will be okay. Trust me, it will be okay. Lash Legend. Not Versa. She wasn't on the show tonight. She was in a backstage segment with Jakara Jackson. They ran into Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, where the women's tag team champions are challenged to a title match. Cargill accepts on behalf of her and Bianca, saying that they do not back down from a challenge. However, the champs want the match on SmackDown instead of NXT. Great! We get to see Trash Legend on Friday Night SmackDown. Oh joy, man. I can't wait. Back over to Dynamite. Daniel Garcia. He cuts a promo middle of the ring. He comes to the ring. He says it's great to feel the energy of the crowd as he's missed this after sitting at home for a while. Garcia thanks Tony Khan for giving him this time, as when you're sitting at home, you question what's best for your life despite it not being the easiest or the best answer. Garcia never wanted to be a guy who didn't follow through on his word, but felt it was important to look everyone in the eye to let them know what he was doing. Garcia came to the conclusion that he can do whatever he wants, as he's one of the best wrestlers in the world. Because he's one of the best, it's only right that he stays where the best wrestle. He's staying with AEW. This Danny Garcia staying with AEW isn't the same as before. He's no longer the little bro who complains after every loss. He's the one who you can build a foundation on and put gold around his waist. The champions of AEW are no longer safe. The feeling is restored. I'm going to keep a close eye on what he said here. This is no longer the same Danny Garcia as before. Creative will dictate that. Danny Garcia is not going to dictate that. He stays with AEW. Great. Now we don't need to put him in the headlines. We don't need to talk about this on TNT or Sound Off or Off the Script or wherever else you get your news. We don't need to talk about this no more. He stays with AEW. Thank fucking God. That story is dead. Did he make the right decision? It's not me or you to decide or say what's right for Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia made the right decision for Danny Garcia. Do I think it's probably best if he stayed in AEW? Sure. Because Tony Khan, at the end of the day, is a fucking fool, and he's going to overpay Danny Garcia much more than he's already worth so that he doesn't go to NXT. So good. Good on Danny Garcia for taking Tony Khan for a fool and suckering more money out of Tony Khan because he knew he would get it, because he knows how Tony Khan operates. Tony didn't want him to go to NXT. Tony didn't want him to go to the Enemy, so he overpaid like he usually does to keep someone like Danny Garcia in AEW. I hope that this next 3 years or 4 years or whatever the contract length is for is much better than the first 4 years. Do I trust that it will be? Fuck no, I don't. No, I don't. Money-wise, it's a great move. Danny Garcia is set for the next 3 or 4 years. Creatively, I wouldn't fucking trust Tony Khan as far as I could smell him. Footage of Swerve Strickland training with EJ Nduka is shown, who we haven't seen on AEW television at all, yet AEW wants us to just fucking say, oh, who's that? Oh, who is he? You know, we should know who he is, right? Who the fuck is that training with Swerve Strickland, and why should I care? Training with this guy, cut up footage of MVP calling out Strickland's recent failures on his management and Prince Nana, telling Prince Nana he's ready for whenever Strickland wants to talk business. We see MVP and Shelton Benjamin watching backstage. Swerve will be at WrestleDream, and he will, I'm sure, be confronted by Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley will be making his AEW debut at WrestleDream. I thought Bobby Lashley would be the one to open or answer the open challenge of Darby Allin, but apparently they had other ideas. So I'm assuming with him being at the show and not in a wrestling role, Bobby Lashley will confront Swerve Strickland at WrestleDream. Renee Paquette tried her best to introduce Mercedes Moné in the way Mercedes does, but it did not work. Mercedes brings up everyone having an issue with her on Twitter and takes a shot at Chris Statlander. Moné mentions Emi Sakura wrestling longer than Moné has been alive and says money changes everything. Boy, Mercedes, why is this? Can someone please reiterate to me again why this is Title Tuesday and we haven't even had a title match yet? Title Tuesday, huh? Danny Garcia is walking backstage and is congratulated by Isaiah Cassidy, Anna Jay, Kyle O'Reilly, Orange Cassidy, Colt Cabana, and Katsuyori Shibata, who walks up and through his phone tells Garcia he'll be the next TNT champion. They both shake hands, and Shibata pretty much granted Garcia a title shot if he beats Jack Perry at WrestleDream. Wow, man, Danny Garcia signed for all that money to wrestle Jack Perry for the TNT title, man. What a fucking fool Tony Khan is. If you lost Danny Garcia, no value would have been lost. Just throwing it out there. Willow Nightingale, Saraya, Nyla Rose, and Jamie Hayter. Women's four-way. And the winner would earn a shot at Mariah May in the AEW women's title match at WrestleDream. Now, this was supposed to be Britt Baker versus Willow, I believe. That got changed because apparently Britt did not travel with the company and was home ill. Now, if I'm a betting man, Britt Baker knew that she was in a losing situation, and Britt clearly, because I know I would have did the same thing, you know what, I'm not showing up to work. This is a waste of my fun. Yeah, let me wrestle in front of 1,600 people in fucking absolutely remote fucking areas of Washington State in front of all these people because Tony needs a number one contender in Willow for WrestleDream. Yeah, no thank you. Tony, I'm sick. I can't come in. I can't come in today. Adam got me sick. He got me sick. He's in the bedroom playing Halo on his Xbox. I'm watching the show from the couch. I'll be there in 2 weeks. I promise I'll get better. I got a COVID test. I'll be there in 2 weeks. Fuck out of here. Yeah, let's bring Britt Baker to fucking Spokane, Washington to lose to Willow Nightingale. You might as well just have given Willow the fucking match. Who the fuck was going to win it? Man, oh man, I got a lot to say about this match, man. This was fucking terrible. I'm sorry. This was fucking terrible. We'll pick it up after the break. At one point, Cameron punched Hayter right in the face. And apparently this got a big reaction from Tony Schiavone. And Mariah May asked if he needed a mint or blue chew. I'm sure Tony Schiavone needs a blue chew. First of all, I don't know why anybody would need a blue chew with Mariah May. Number one. Tony probably needs a blue chew. Code JD at checkout. Code JD at checkout. So we pick it up from the break. Hayter avoided a doctor bomb from Willow and hit a hate breaker. Saraya ran in with a thrust kick. She was mowed down by a Nyla clothesline. Nightingale, she was up and flattened Nyla with a spine buster as everyone was down. Commentary then says there's a table set up at ringside. Mariah said she wants her celebration at WrestleDream with Mina. Man, oh man. I'd like a celebration with Mina too. So would the people in this fucking chat. She's been following Shirakawa and says Timeless Tony Storm is dead. Hayter somehow hit a double suplex onto Rose and Nightingale at the same time. Saraya tried a chair shot, was cut off, and was clocked with a chair by Hayter. Harley Cameron tried to intervene here, and she was taken out by Jamie. Penelope Ford, who? Oh, Joey Janela's ex. Oh, man, how he dropped the ball on Penelope, man, I don't know. She upgraded, though, in Kip. She was tired of the fucking, mud show, Indie Feds. She was tired of that, man. She's like, I can't date this fucking loser. He's still living at home with his mom. He's got no bank account. He's got no direction in life. He spends all his money on booze and fucking cheap cigarettes. And he keeps his money in his sock drawer at home. No 401k, no retirement plan. Guy's putting himself through fucking tables and lighting himself on fire every fucking week. I can't be with this fucking geek. Yeah, that Penelope Ford. Yeah. She ran out with a chair. All of a sudden, smacked Jamie Hayter in the back with it. Jamie Hayter leaves the match. She leaves a number one contendership match for the right to wrestle Mariah May at the pay-per-view to go chase someone who has, from our understanding, nothing to do with her. Oh, but there's a story here, JD. What story? You mean to tell me that we're keeping Jamie Hayter out of a major program because we need to feud her with Penelope Ford? Can someone, you know what? I gotta Google it. I gotta Google it. I gotta see when the last time Penelope Ford actually had a match on AEW television. Penelope Ford has not wrestled a singles match in AEW since October 12th, 2022. When I tell you that this show was strung together by fucking dental floss and Elmer's glue, I mean it. I don't know what the fuck is going on back there, but this shit is fucking awful. She has not wrestled a singles match in AEW since 2022, and yet you want me to sit there and be emotionally invested in a fucking story with someone who's been off television for 2 fucking years. The sickos are going to claim this is a story. This is nothing more than you playing WWE 2K24, Tony, with you having the option of interference on in the option setting, Tony, and then randomly, Penelope Ford comes out and picks a fight with Jamie Hayter. Bingo! We got a match for next week's Rampage. Absolutely fucking sad. Sad. So, she is now gone. Jamie Hayter says, fuck the world title. I'm going to go chase this bitch who hasn't been on TV for 2 years. Crowd chanted, we want tables. Because that's all they know how to do. Rose hits a neck breaker on Saraya. She goes up top, only for Harley Cameron to shove off Rose, and she went splat at the edge of the ring. Harley Cameron had a difficult time getting the table into the ring from the outside. Saraya hit Nightingale with a good night. I wish it was a good night for me. It was not. Finally, the table was set up in the corner. Some miscommunication from Saraya and Harley Cameron, who was hit with a Nightingale Doctor Bomb while Saraya was driven through the table. With a Death Valley driver, Nightingale stacked both Harley Cameron and Saraya at the same time and got the 1, 2, 3. Tony! Can someone ask me, or someone tell me, rather, why Willow is getting a championship match? Oh, but she won a Fatal 4-Way. Yeah, that's great. How did she get in contention for the Women's Championship? You know, you do know. Let me go back and look at this because I got to figure this out, too. I want to see who she's actually beaten to be in this situation that we find her in right now. She's beaten Taya Valkyrie, and she's beaten Trish Adora. Well, man, that's some top-tier talent you got there. Not. The one match that everybody's going to factor into this is Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale. Chris Statlander beats Willow Nightingale at All Out. Why isn't Chris Statlander in contention for a Women's World Championship? Or does that not matter? Or do we really book week-to-week television? Nyla Rose. What the fuck does Nyla Rose have to do with a Women's Championship? Has she done anything since she's lost to Mariah May? You know, the Mariah May title reign that started off defending the title against Nyla Rose because Nyla Rose is nothing more than a gatekeeper for all new women's champions. It doesn't matter who the women's champion is. It could be Jamie Hayter when she wins the title. Nyla Rose will be her first opponent. Trish Adora can win the championship. Nyla Rose will be her first opponent. Queen Aminata can win the fucking women's championship. Nyla Rose will be her first opponent. Nyla Rose is a gatekeeper for this division. Saraya, she lost to Jamie Hayter 2 weeks ago. Yet she's in a number one contenders match with the woman that she beat. Why the fuck is she there? This company is in fucking shambles. Company is in shambles. Nothing makes sense. Then you wonder why Britt Baker called in sick and stayed home. Britt Baker's having a grand old time on her couch, underneath her blanket, with the 50-degree weather, with the window open, watching Love is Blind on Netflix. She's very content at home. No reason to come to work when the fucking creative as piss poor as this is happening every fucking week. Nightingale celebrated on the ramp. Mariah May was waiting there, tried to slap. Nightingale caught her off guard. Mariah. It's like Mariah and Saraya mixed together. Mariah May headbutted Willow. And then she starts whipping her with the AEW Women's title. Don't care. Don't care. Yet here we are. There won't be one fucking sicko that calls out this egregious offensive creative. Good thing you got me. The company is fucking in shambles creatively. The quicker you realize that, the better off we'll be. You're lucky you have me in the community because who else is going to call out this fucking terrible garbage? Speaking of garbage, Big Bill and the Learning Tree are backstage. Big Bill said that people in the company who need help are the ones that want them the least. They walk backstage and approach Rocky Romero. Jericho said it's time for Learning and Romero to learn his self-worth. Jericho brings up the conglomeration, inviting Romero to join them months after they were already a group, just to take care of smart Mark Sterling, which Jericho said is the lowest spot possible in AEW. Jericho questions if Rocky Romero wants to be a lackey his whole career, and Romero says he's no man's lackey. Jericho says he'll become Ring of Honor champion on Saturday and thanks Romero for his time. Brian Keith told Romero, listen to Jericho or else. Absolutely terrible, terrible television. Nathan Frazier switching things back to NXT. Nathan Frazier and Axiom defeated Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. This was a great tag team match for these guys. Television tag team match. Best tag team in WWE are Fraxium. So the match goes to a commercial break. And we come back. Some high-flying stuff early on. The baby faces are in trouble here. Axiom trying to rally when the show comes back from a break. Hot tag, broken up. A-Town down under, continue to isolate Axiom, keeping him away from Frazier. He eventually shoves Theory off the ropes. Axiom lands a big splash. Hot tag to Frazier. He runs wild with big spots. Frazier's great. Theory cuts off Axiom. Gets a couple of near falls. Axiom tags back in. Champs are in control. Some double team offense by both guys. Match heats up. There is a great spot with a double submission being broken up. Axiom caught Waller in a rear naked choke, and Fraxium catches with a guillotine choke on Theory. He counters Frazier, and Theory suplexes Frazier on Axiom to break up the other submission. Great spot. Finish came when the champs did their finish. Spanish fly by Axiom, followed by a Phoenix splash by Frazier. Frazier covers Theory for the 1, 2, 3. Great. Great stuff by the tag team champions. Love them. Rich Holland. Video package. Something that Tony Khan forgets to do on a weekly basis. A video package recaps the story of Rich Holland against Chase University. Rich Holland is then interviewed backstage where he's ambushed by Riley Osborne. Who? Your guess is as good as mine. They have a pull-apart brawl. A singles match for the two of them is clearly happening on next week's NXT. We got a musical performance in the middle of NXT tonight. Sexy, unsexy Red is performing a rap song in the middle of the ring, and thank God it's cut short. Ethan Page interrupts the unsexy Red concert. He gets in the ring to cut a promo. Red is looking on as Page rants and raves. Page says this is his ring, and he's not leaving until he gets a title match, a rematch against Trick Williams. Javon Evans interrupts. Evans confronts Page. Page tries to sucker punch Javon Evans. He blocks it. Evans punches Page several times. Page is clotheslined out of the ring. Evans dances in the ring with Sexy Red as the show goes to a commercial break before we get to the main event of Randy Orton versus Javon Evans. We'll get to that in a little bit. Back over to Dynamite. Switchblade Jay White defeated Cody Chun. Yes, Switchblade had to sell tonight for Cody Chun. Probably took this guy off the streets of Spokane, Washington. Uranage, Blade Runner, and that was it. This guy actually got a Manhattan drop and a leg lariat and a float over DDT on the former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion in his first match back. Whoever the producer was for this match should be fucking banned for at least 3 weeks. Cody Chun should have never got offense on Jay White. It should have been a fucking squash. Post-match, Jay White cuts a promo on Adam Page. Told Adam Page he's one of the two men who knocked him off his path to the AEW World Championship. So, meaning Page is one of two wrongs that White must right, and asks what Page is going to do about it. White imagines that Page will come around, guns blazing, veins popping out of his head, and it's perfect. It's what Jay White wants. He wants Hangman versus Switchblade one more time. When White wins, he'll move on to correcting wrong number 2 and move on to gold. White says it's funny, the same voices who booed and despised him are the same voices who will be saying and chanting Switchblade Jay White, AEW World Champion, as it all starts with Hangman this Saturday at WrestleDream. I'm looking forward to it because I love both guys. Should be great. But who wins? Gotta be Page. Sounds like they booked themselves into a corner with that one. Hook is backstage with a camera crew and says he's tired of chasing whoever attacked his father. Shout out to Taz, by the way, who got double knee replacement surgery. He is going to be off TV for a while. Kip Sabian stumbled into Hook and said it wasn't him before walking off. Christian Cage, Nick, and Mother Wayne approached and said they're both family men. Cage says he lost Killswitch to a serious medical situation, which, by the way, that is a real-life situation. Killswitch, Luchasaurus, whatever you want to call him, had double pneumonia, and his blood oxygen level was around 80 or less than 80, which was ridiculous. It's not good. He could have had permanent lung damage. Could have been life or death. But hopefully he's on the mend, and shout out to Luchasaurus. So Cage says he's lost Luchasaurus to a serious medical issue and gives Hook condolences on the injury to his father. Cage and his patriarchy walk off with Hook angry, not knowing who attacked his father. Sounds like it's Christian Cage to me. Looks like they're setting up the story of Christian Cage enlisting Hook as his new father figure, which could be for some great television. Renee Paquette is with Mariah May backstage when Willow Nightingale charged in with a pounce, sending May flying. Nightingale said she'll keep this brief. She'll defeat Mariah May at WrestleDream for the AEW Women's title, as she defeated 3 former women's champions tonight to become the number 1 contender. No, you won't. Willow is not beating Mariah May. Mercedes Moné with Camille. She wrestled Emi Sakura to retain the TBS and New Japan Strong Women's Championships. This is Emi Sakura's first match since April, and nobody knew who the fuck she was. She came out, and my depression sank to all-time lows when Emi Sakura showed up on television. This was the first match tonight that had anything to do remotely with it being called Title Tuesday. Why was it called Title Tuesday tonight? Does anybody have a good explanation for that? Tony? I'm going to be a betting man and say the Mercedes Moné smiles that we see all over the place are nothing more than Mercedes hiding her sadness and depression. I genuinely think that Mercedes regrets signing with AEW. I do. I don't think Mercedes realized how bad it was upon signing with AEW. They gave her a great debut in Boston, right? Big business. And then what happened from there? She got a decent feud out of Willow, won the championship, had a match with Stephanie Vaquer, and since that match at Forbidden Door, Mercedes has absolutely been on the decline faster than anything, man. It's like you're playing Cliffhanger on The Price is Right. Yodelay, 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 it's going downhill. Downhill. guarantee this woman regrets signing with AEW. There's no fucking way this woman's happier. None. You think Mercedes is happy competing in front of fucking 1,800 people in Spokane, Washington? Meanwhile, she could be competing sellout after sellout after sellout in WWE. You don't think she misses that? Her bank account's happy. Her bank account is fucking over the moon happy. But Mercedes is not. How could she be happy when she's wrestling Emi Sakura on Dynamite? No build, no story. Yet the sickos, oh, Emi Sakura, 30-year veteran, she wants to win a title this year. Yeah, it's not a fucking story, you fucking half-witted idiot. It's nothing more than Tony Khan needing a title match for Title Tuesday, and this is the last resort that he had. Boy, did Mercedes sucker Tony Khan out of whatever she is making, man. Holy shit. Do I even talk about this, man? I'm already at 2 hours. I mean, Mercedes won this. I mean, who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? Nobody. Butterfly backbreaker. Monet rolled to the ropes. Referee was distracted. This allowed Camille to trip up Emmy. Monet applied the statement maker, which is the bank statement, which should be her finish, instead of the Monet maker. She got the submission. Post-match, Monet held Sakura for Camille to attack when Chris Statlander ran out and booted Camille to the outside as Mercedes bailed and had to hold back her muscle in Camille. Tony! This message goes out to Tony Khan! Tony! I got a question, Tony. Didn't Chris Statlander turn heel? You know, when she feuded with Willow, her ex-best friend? Remember that? Who was she paired with, chat? Wasn't Chris Statlander paired with, the fuck is his name? Oh, Stokely Hathaway, man. Wasn't she paired with Stokely Hathaway? Had this great presence about her. She looked dominating. Finally, Stat is in her own element. She looks like a beast. Stokely's a great mouthpiece. He's a great representation for anybody, really. He's fucking great at what he does. But he's with Stat. Nice combination, great on-screen presence for both. Get a great match at All Out. Probably the best women's match all year that that AEW, I'm so fucking tired. I don't even know what fucking company I'm talking about. That AEW's put on. Best women's match that AEW has put on this year. Chris Statlander wins. Chris Statlander, you would think, beats Willow Nightingale. She should be the one to get the match against Mariah May because it was such a big deal, right? By the way, Chris Statlander was a heel coming into that match with Willow. They turned Chris Statlander heel at a pay-per-view. At a pay-per-view on Willow. Fast forward to October, and I see Willow Nightingale getting a shot at Mariah May, who's a loser. Now, she lost that match, so we're going to reward the losers. And I see tonight in October, on Title Tuesday, Chris Statlander coming out as a babyface. As a babyface. Gee, Tony, what happened, bro? Where did we go wrong here, bro? How are we going to justify this, Tony? I remember Stat beating Willow literally a month ago. A month ago! She was a heel. But now she's a babyface. She's also without Stokely. Where did Stokely go, man? Did Stokely get swallowed up by a fucking hurricane and a fucking pit in Tampa, Florida? What happened? in Jacksonville? Did he fall into a pit of quicksand? Where did he go? Did he get blown away by Hurricane Milton? Where the fuck is Stokely Hathaway? Did we write Stokely out of the pairing with Chris Statlander? Did we physically see it play out on television? What am I missing here? Does anybody have an explanation for me? How is she babyface? How does this writing team? I guess I should address Will Washington, being that he's so fucking cozy with Willow Nightingale. All I see every fucking show, he's cozy up with Willow Nightingale. Let's ask Mr. Will Washington, where's the fucking story? So basically, this writing team wasted our time. We sat and watched this story develop over months of television for them to actually wrestle each other because Chris Statlander turned heel to Willow's babyface. For them to have Chris Statlander win and be her ex-best friend, and the payoff was for her to go babyface after she turned heel and to drop Stokely with no explanation whatsoever. That was the plan? And now she's feuding with Mercedes. For what? Because Mercedes needs a babyface. Does anybody expect Mercedes to lose this championship to Chris fucking Statlander? When did she turn babyface? When did they turn her babyface? And what is the reason why? Was there a physical, verbal explanation as to why she dropped Stokely Hathaway? Tony Khan is booking his pro wrestling company as a video game simulation. It's exactly what he's doing. This is fucking terrible. Match with Emi Sakura and Mercedes is embarrassing. The story with Statlander is embarrassing. And the explanation is non-existent. Yet you want me to sit here and fucking praise this show. JD hates AEW. Yeah, when they do shit like this. Danny Smith, your mother was hugging my balls, bitch. Maybe you should go back and watch the Monday Night Raw live stream that I did on Monday, where I actually shit on WWE for a good 20 minutes to open the show and called out Triple H for a terrible Monday night. Maybe I'll call your mother after this fucking live stream is over so she can hug my balls again while you're tucked into bed. I'll have her serve you milk before I come over, man. You won't even hear me coming. I'll be like Batman in fucking Gotham. Ma, what are you doing in there? Don't worry, bitch. Get back to bed. It's adult time in the Danny household. What was his name? Danny Smith in the Danny Smith household. Private parties backstage. Renee's interviewing Private Party. She also brings in Stokely Hathaway. Apparently, he's with Private Party now. Don't know how we got there. Who said he's been watching the past few weeks, and every time they get an opportunity, they knock it out of the park. Hathaway brings up taking out the most lovable person in AEW at All In. Imagine what Private Party could do. Hathaway offers a hand. Mark Quinn said it's another person who jumped on the bandwagon after 2 weeks and questions where he was the last 5 years. What bandwagon? Have they done anything in AEW the last couple weeks? They just got bitch slapped by the Blackpool Combat Club. The fuck have they done? They turned Hathaway down, and he said it doesn't sound like it's the right call. He walks away. Quinn says they don't need anyone in their corner. They want this. They need this. They'll take those tag team titles from the Young Bucks. Or I think it was Isaiah Cassidy that said it. They will take the tag team titles away from the Young Bucks, and then it'll be a party everyone is invited to. Yeah, right. No, they are not winning the tag team titles. No, thank you. Where has this private party been? Now, all of a sudden, after 5 years, they want to grow up. Will Ospreay. He demands an answer from Don Callis. Tony Schiavone's in the ring. He welcomes Will Ospreay. Ospreay puts over Ricochet before saying Takeshita doesn't do anything without Callis giving him the go-ahead, so he wants answers from Don Callis right now. Don Callis walks out, tries a hug. Ospreay pushes him off. Callis says he has something important to say to Ospreay. Last week was difficult for him emotionally, as he hates to see Ospreay unhappy. Callis brings up when both he and Ospreay beat Kenny Omega, or when they beat Chris Jericho. Ospreay says they're here to talk about last week, not last year, and wants to know if Callis sent Takeshita out to attack both he and Ricochet. Callis kept dodging the questions before finally giving in and saying, yes, I did send Takeshita out there. So, Callis says he made the call out of frustration as Ospreay wouldn't listen. Callis said he had to show him who made the decisions in the family. Callis brings up 2 weeks ago for being this close to winning the tag team titles because Ospreay was mentally weak. Ospreay says he brought Callis the international title, but if Callis didn't stick his nose in his business, he would have also brought him the AEW World Championship. Ospreay tells Callis he doesn't know shit. Callis says he's had the best wrestler in the world, Kenny Omega, but he threw him in the garbage for Will Ospreay. So maybe he should throw the best wrestler now in the trash one more time. Ospreay said Callis is everything everyone warned him about. He's utter scum, and they're done. Callis slapped Ospreay. Ospreay threw down Callis before Takeshita hit the ring, and a brawl was on. Kyle Fletcher hit the ring. He tried talking some sense into Ospreay, but the distraction allowed Takeshita to hit a release German suplex. Callis handed Fletcher the screwdriver. Fletcher refused to use it on Ospreay. Takeshita tried to talk some sense into Fletcher, who stormed off, and Ospreay continued to fight with Konosuke until Callis pulled him by his hair and pulled him back. Takeshita went for the belt shot, but Ricochet ran out and hit a springboard forearm as Takeshita and Don Callis bailed. Ricochet held up the international title before handing it to Will Ospreay. Great. Will Ospreay is no longer affiliated with the Don Callis family. AEW is going about this all backwards. We got the match. Can't take it back. They did it. Ospreay, Ricochet was not as good as people made it out to be. It was very dull and very lifeless. Now we're getting a triple threat match at WrestleDream, which, just based on the sheer wrestling ability of all three guys, is probably going to be the best match of the entire night. Now, with that being said, I don't know who wins. Who wins this match? Ospreay's not losing the international championship, and if he does, he should lose it to Konosuke Takeshita. But Ricochet also cannot suffer loss because he hasn't really been here that long, but do you want to beat him now? It looks like out of every option, my honest opinion is pin Ricochet and just get it over with. AEW dropped a tease because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Takeshita was supposed to feud with Okada. Apparently they dropped that for some reason. Out of nowhere, it was just dropped. I don't know if plans changed. I don't know what the direction is now, but it certainly feels like that's been dropped for possibly later in the year. What I would do is not have Takeshita go after the international championship. I would have Takeshita and Fletcher team against Ricochet and Will Ospreay. I would have them as a tag team working together to take out a common enemy and then revisit this match one-on-one with Ricochet and Ospreay. Maybe at Revolution, maybe at Double or Nothing. We wait on it and let it build. Takeshita does not need the international championship. Takeshita should enter the Continental Classic, like I mentioned last week with Jesse, and win the Continental Classic and have him beat Okada for the AEW Continental title. That's the direction that they should go. So I'm predicting Will Ospreay pins Ricochet. That's what I'm predicting. But knowing AEW, they'll probably give Takeshita the championship and then have him pin Will Ospreay and be done with it. Or will Ospreay retain the championship and pin Takeshita because Takeshita is eventually going to enter the Continental Classic and wrestle Okada anyway. So it doesn't really matter because nobody will look back on this. This is another match, just like the Jay White Adam Page, where I feel like they booked themselves into a corner. Takeshita can't lose, Ospreay can't lose, and Ricochet can't lose. So what do? Backstage, Jack Perry was sitting in the back and said Katsuyori Shibata is considered a legend, the embodiment of fighting spirit, who has a turkey leg in his trunks. Don't want to know anything about that, but here we are. Perry said Shibata lets his phone do the talking, but wants to speak to Shibata in his old language, fighting in the ring. Shibata might deserve the TNT title, but it's not about what you deserve. It's what you're willing to take. This TNT title means that Perry is the best and for Shibata to come take it from. There's no story. This match is just another random match made for the sake of making a championship match in a pay-per-view that doesn't mean a fucking thing to anybody else anywhere in this entire sport. Doesn't matter. They'll go 10 minutes, it'll be over, and people will forget about it as soon as it's over. Nobody cares. Bryan Danielson and Wheeler Yuta against the Blackpool Combat Club, Claudio and Pac. We did get a main event on NXT, though. Let's go back over to NXT. Randy Orton and Javon Evans. This is a one-on-one match between a legend and someone that WWE is incredibly high on. So we go to the outside. Orton dropped Evans several times on the commentary desk. Table does not break. Orton keeps trying. He keeps dropping Evans on the desk. Evans flew into a big comeback. Orton cuts him off. Orton delivers a draping DDT. Orton teases the RKO. Evans counters with a super kick. Springboard into a flying cutter for a close near fall. Evans goes for another cutter. Orton blocks the second attempt. RKO by Orton. And he covers Evans for a pinfall. Orton helps Evans to his feet after the match. And Orton raises Evans' hand. The RKO attempt that they did here at the end of the match was a very ambitious RKO. This was a fucking, I don't know what, it was like a twirling, spinning, it was like a fucking whirlwind spin that Javon Evans tried to do. And he did one too many revolutions. So he hit the mat before Orton could even get in position to do the RKO. And Orton had to drop and pretend like he hit the RKO because that's where Evans was already. He hit the mat already. So Orton picked him up again, delivered an RKO, and then won the match 1, 2, 3. And that was basically it. I know a lot of people are going to be criticizing this as a big botch, and the AEW cult is going to be laughing at NXT and Javon Evans and Randy Orton for it. Look at this. It's fucking garbage. Look at this botch fest, whatever the case may be. It was an ambitious attempt that shouldn't have been attempted. They certainly went out there and tried to make the next Evan Bourne moment. But not everybody could be Matt Sydal. I'm sorry. That still lives in infamy as the greatest RKO. Or maybe the Seth Rollins spot where he tried for the stomp, he popped him up, and then RKO'd him at WrestleMania. Those two, it's either one of those two. Or Ali. Ali even had a great spot with the RKO. Mustafa Ali. People are going to be nailing this spot as a botch. They're going to be laughing at it. It was an ambitious attempt, but it shouldn't have been attempted. A botch is a botch. Less is more. They should have done something a little bit more safe. This one had way too much room for error. Way too much. But they did it anyway, and it didn't work. But at the end of the match, Randy Orton said you could physically see his lips. Don't worry about it. It's all right. He raised his hand. He still got his seal of approval from Randy Orton. Did Javon Evans. Fine. Randy Orton of old would have absolutely been blasting this guy. Probably would have gotten him fired, to be honest with you. He would have been pissed. This is a different Randy Orton. This Randy Orton, Corey Graves says it. This Randy Orton's having the time of his life, and you see it. You feel it. That's why I can't wait for him to go heel, man. He's gonna be so good as a heel against Cody Rhodes. But they did it. It didn't work. It wasn't even all that good of a match, to be quite honest with you. They did it because Orton's from St. Louis, and they needed a major star to put over their rising star, so it worked. So it was a main attraction for the second show on the CW, and that's all it was. But if I'm Javon Evans, man, I know I beat myself up when I have a bad night, or I don't do something right, where I know I should have did it right. He's going to be beating himself up. He's going to be beating himself up for weeks in regards to that situation. So I feel bad for him. Because not only is he going to be beating himself up, people on social media are going to be beating him up for it. But it shouldn't have been done. An ambitious attempt that should have been done. Less is more. And that's the way NXT went off the air. It was a much better show than last week. I much preferred this week's NXT on the CW than last week's debut episode. And then in the main event of Dynamite, Tony Khan absolutely spending as much money as he possibly can on nothing. He bought the rights again to Final Countdown tonight in front of this audience for Bryan Danielson. I don't know why. Tag team match here ends with a 450 splash by Pac. Shafir took the ref. Pac quickly went for the ring attendant hammer. Yuta disarmed him. Danielson was up, locked Pac in a label lock, and Pac submitted. Post-match, Danielson immediately hit a dive onto Moxley and brawled up the ramp. Claudio and Yuta argued on the apron. Pac kicked Yuta to the floor where Shafir beat him up. Poor Wheeler Yuta being beat up by Marina Shafir. Backstage, the fight continued with Danielson and Jon Moxley as Danielson threw Moxley into the garage door. Claudio with the hammer in hand told Shafir and Pac to hold Yuta up, who hit him in the midsection with the hammer repeatedly. Danielson and Moxley brawled to the back. Pac was sent flying as Claudio ate a Busaiku knee. Moxley was sent tumbling up the ramp to Marina as Danielson stood tall before looking over at Yuta, helping him up, yes chanting as the show went off the air. My question is, the only thing that I cared about in this segment, because I didn't really give two fucks about this tag team match, this is your trios champions. Wheeler Yuta, Claudio, and Pac are your AEW trios champions. We don't have a trio anymore because they beat the shit out of their tag team partner. What happens to the AEW trios championships? My recommendation is burn the titles and get rid of them. The trios championships are the reason why the tag team division is fucking terrible, and nobody gives a fuck about the trios championships. There hasn't been one single fucking story in regards to those championships in any meaningful way since they've been born on AEW television. Get rid of them. We don't need them. Burn them and focus on the tag team titles only. Guys, that's it. That's all I got for you. Let's get to these super chats before we get the fuck out of here. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for sticking with me, man. As we had 2,200 in here for the duration of the show. Dynamite's awful. I'm sure there'll be some fucking geek who clips the show and complains and cries on social media to his fucking legions of followers. Oh, JD hates AEW. Look at this guy, man. He's a paid shill from Triple H. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Cameo. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for notifications, and please hit that thumbs up, man. We got 823 likes. I'd love if we can get 1,000 before I jump in the dark horse and get the fuck out of here, man. Super chats are open. Get them on in. We're going to start with Michelle with a $2 super chat. Love Mox, but his higher power angle feels doomed. Vincent Tarantini with 29 months. I am watching NXT, not Dynamite. But the real winner is the number one in the IWC, J motherfucking D. Thank you, Vincent. Basic, $1.99. Mets spank the Phillies. Let's go, Mets. BC, $10 in super chat. AEW is a fucking disaster. I'm pissed that a billionaire has all the resources to make a good show, but just puts on soulless, boring horseshit. Well, their ratings show for it, BC. And their ratings will show for it tonight because nobody watched this show tonight. Their marketing team is in fucking shambles. 1,800 people in attendance, and nobody even realized that Dynamite was on TBS tonight. Plenty of sickos being tucked into bed by their mothers tonight who asked them how they enjoyed their favorite hologram. Thank you, BC. Cake with a $2 super chat. It's always use the roster. TK uses the roster. It's always use the roster till TK uses the roster. Who did he use? He used nobody that anybody cares to see, Cake. Keith Hobson with the 6 months. I feel a Battleground 2017 rant coming on strong. OTS for life. Thank you, Keith. Now, it wasn't that level of ranting, but this show sucks. Joseph Taylor with a $6 super chat. In my opinion, if Tony removes RJ, City, and Will Washington from the creative team, I feel like Dynamite will be better. Bro, nobody's working on creative. There is no creative. Creative is Tony Khan. He wakes up and books whatever he wants. He doesn't consult with anybody. Jason Correa with a $4.99. Hey, JD, what's up? Should I watch WrestleDream this Saturday? So far, the only pay-per-view I'm invested in is Bound for Glory. I would say put your money towards TNA. Joe Hendry's going to win the TNA title. Demeter Bullion. Also, JD, what you think of Bruce Blitz with a $7.99? Mind the name, JD. AEW needs a story like Triple H and Batista in Evolution. That was storytelling leading to a great Hell in a Cell match. It tickles my weenus. Yeah, I wasn't too thrilled with that match. Apostoli with a new membership. Thank you, brother. Gary Sphere with a 5. I'm usually an AEW defender. Oh, I know, Gary. But Tony needs to step away from creative, and can't believe I'm saying this, but putting the belt on Bryan was a mistake. And putting the belt on Jon Moxley is going to be a mistake. I don't think anybody wants to see that. The Cerebral with a $2 super chat. AEW reminds me of TNA. Listen, as far as I'm concerned, TNA is outperforming AEW right now. Mr. Noob, $10 super chat. Both shows had 1,800 people in the building, but if you told me NXT had 5 or 6K, I'd believe it. Tony booked tonight like a surrender in this war. That was painful. Yep. It was definitely a show that emitted, I give up. I'm not trying this year. Cam G with a $10 super chat. My guy, JD, this is why I follow you. Because you don't sugarcoat a single thing. And AEW, my God, it's heartbreaking how god-awful this show was. Much love, JD. OTS for life. Cam G, thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man. Eric with a new membership. Eric L. Thank you, brother. Keith Hobson with a $5 super chat. It's like it's more in here than AEW. Sad Panda. OTS for life. John Clockwork with a $4.99. I was at NXT tonight, my first WWE show. The seating was a cramped show, but there was a show, and it was good. D'Angelo winning caught me off guard. Glad you had a good time, John. Phoenix Enterprises with a 10. Already said what I said earlier, but fuck it. You deserve a drink, brother. Appreciate you as always. You are my hero and idol. Hope you're doing okay. Bacardi is smiling from heaven tonight. Thank you, Phoenix. Super cool with a $2 super chat. Dynamite tonight was as bad as Joker 2. You couldn't pay me to go see that movie after what people said. No way. Pacifist with a $5 super chat. Wow, AEW venue not even at half capacity. You think they might go belly up like WCW did in 01? No. They are on TBS and TNT for the next 3 years, possibly 4 years. My guy David Thiering with a 5 months. Hey, JD, shout out to those in the path of Hurricane Milton. Sounds like it will make landfall as a Category 3 or 4 storm. Stay safe out there, guys. Yeah, it did weaken a little bit. I'm hearing it's a Category 4. Wrestling Bro with a $10 in Super Chat. Literally watched Ali Wong with my wife tonight rather than watch either show. That's how disinterested I was. Seems like NXT was decent. I've been getting that same feeling from watching a Dynamite recently. that I did from watching Raw in the Vince era. Depressed, mental crash, bored. That's how I feel. This show was fucking depressing tonight. Depressing. Johnny Boy Vaccaro with a $10 super chat. Potential, if not, be better than AEW, Ricochet in WWE. Montez Ford, Wes Lee, Axiom Frazier, and Javon Evans. Best wishes to Rico, with Daddy Tony playing him as his new toy from the new toy chest. Yep. He's nothing more than a shiny new toy that will get bored very quickly. CJ, 20 with a $2 super chat. Hologram, the next AEW champion. Laughing my ass off. TK is a dumbass. Poppy Sensei with a $5 super chat. AEW is the WNBA of the wrestling business. 20,000 seat arenas and maybe 1,500 people show up. It's truly sad to see. They don't give a fuck. They got their money. They don't care. Learning Tree with a 20. Which is worse? 2010 to 2023 Vince booking, current Tony Khan booking, or WCW 2000 booking? I'm giving it to TK. WWE and WCW had bright spots in the midst of the bad. TK is a mental case that's given AEW no redeeming qualities. I'm probably going to go WCW 2000 booking, man. The shit that they did then, man, that was fucking... if I was a fan, I'd stop watching. Seeing half the shit that they did, I would have stopped watching. Tony is definitely Vince-like, man. This is definitely Vince-like booking. Triple M, $5 super chat. Tony Khan is as washed as Bungie is. AEW is falling off. You hate to see it, but man, Revenant Act 1 was way too short. What a day of disappointment. Man, I gotta hop on and start crafting some fucking potions. Wolf Dragon Monster Den with a $2 super chat. Holo Pukamania. Dynamite is lost. OTS for life. Yeah. Kid Revos with a 5. Willow is getting another title shot. I'm a big fan of Willow, but Tony books the same people to have the title shots over and over. The women's division is fucking lost. Mercedes, Jennifer Pepperman, Tony Khan, Will Washington, they don't have a fucking clue. Not a fucking clue. John Wick of Spider Hunters. Nate, $10 super chat. Man, AEW was Joker 2 and NXT was Megalopolis tonight. Me and WWE made a deal to get Sexy Red. You will see Lil Xan and Lil Pump Ice Spice, Lil Mabu, and 699. Very soon this hurricane sucks. Your review helps. I don't know any of those people. I don't know who the fuck you're talking about, bro. You're speaking a language that is not mine. Francis Loop with a $2 super chat. Wasn't tonight's show supposed to be Title Tuesday? Yeah. Agent J.K. Archangel with a $2 super chat. Danielson is not listed in cage match. Why not? I don't know. I'm too lazy to even look now. I'm too lazy to even look, bro. Kid Revos. Reports are out that they took Stokely from Statlander and advised them they had no more creative for them as a pairing. Interesting. Why is that? What happened there that they, sounds like laziness to me. It sounds like they just refused to write. Francis Luke, $2 super chat. Title Tuesday and Battle of the Belts need to go. Johnny Boy. Oba versus Tony had a Rocky versus Clubber Lang vibe. Samurai Sam with a 5. JD, do you carry a rock around like Darby does in his jacket? You shouldn't take it for granted. It does some serious damage. No. No, I don't. Jam Lucci with a 5. I'm more excited for Delta than any other woman in wrestling, to be honest. A breath of fresh air brings something completely different than any woman in WWE. I'm not too familiar with her, so I am very curious to see what she does. Tony McMahon with a 199. I use Solid Monsters. Be the Booker simulator, pal. Man with 1,005 holes with 35 months. Not only with stories, but AEW needs a big 6'7" badass who oozes charisma. Can't blame creative when TK is basically creative. He's injecting poison. Eddie Hazard with 37 months. Harvey Dent said it best. You either die a hero or you live to see yourself become the villain. Unfortunately, TK's villain origin story is complete. And Omega Kong with 32 months. Love OTS. Can someone dig up dirt to get Tony Khan out? A racist comment? Even a baby oil bottle? We need to hire some detectives. Guys, I'm all but done here, bro. I am absolutely drained, man. If you guys have not seen it already, man, I am fucking drained. I gotta get some sleep. AWC Legend with a 499. Can we get your best Tony Khan impression, JD? Pal! Man, I ain't topping what I did earlier in the show, man. Just rewind and watch the hologram segment from tonight's show. That's all you need to know. Guys, thank you for a absolutely great stream, man. We had upwards towards 2,300 people in here tonight. Constant stream of 2,200 easy for this dual review of Dynamite, Title Tuesday, and NXT on the CW. Thank you guys for a great stream. If you guys enjoyed the stream, please hit that thumbs up. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Cameo. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for notifications. Solid Monster and I will be live tomorrow night, TNT, on a Wednesday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We will give you guys the takes for sure. Join us then. And until then, guys, have a great night. Thank you for everything tonight. Great stream. Had a ton of fun. Glad I could entertain some of you. Thoughts and prayers out to everybody in Tampa right now in the landing zone of Hurricane Milton. I'll be thinking about you guys. And until tomorrow night, TNT Live with the Solid Monster right here on Off the Script. We'll see you guys later.